Hello, everybody. Welcome, friends, back to another episode of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. This is episode 314. This is episode Pi. I'm Andy.
Chaz.
I'm Joe Dubs.
I'm Zach.
This is the first episode of March to the beat of your own drum. March to the beat, whatever we decided to call it. March, it's a pun. It's the first week in March. So when this episode drops, it'll be my birthday. So happy birthday to me. The first movie we're watching this month is Whiplash. Chaz, you chose this movie. Why'd you choose Whiplash?
Yeah, so I watched Whiplash. Let's go back in time a little bit. Pretty sure I watched Whiplash after renting it out of a Redbox.
Whoa.
Wait, yeah, shortly after it came out. I know,
on the
right?
tail end of Red Boxes then, right? This is a 2014 movie.
Yeah. Red boxes were still a thing, but they were definitely dying out. But I remember using
technically they're
Redbox.
still around now, but they're all they're managed by single people now. Like people bought the machines and then just run them themselves. It's weird.
That's very strange. I feel like that could be its own topic. Talk about the rise and fall of Redbox.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video about it.
It probably is. Someone should look it up and give us the deets. But okay, so I remember renting this and not knowing what it was about, but just hearing really positive things about it. From I can't remember who recommended it. It was someone that I'd worked with it when I was in medical school. But yeah, I remember renting it with my wife, who will watch movies like this, but generally does not like too much suspense in her films. She's definitely a happy-go-lucky. She wants to watch a rom-com or something that's just overly positive. She's not a fan of
Disney.
horror. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Hey, you know what we all like? What we like from movies. It's fine. Yeah,
and
we watched
this. And you watched
it. Yeah, we watched this together, and at the end of it, she's shaking. And I remember at the end, I don't smoke, but I wanted a fucking cigarette after this movie was over. And I distinctly remember looking over, and everything kind of calmed down. And we talked about it, and I was like, I think that is one of the best movies I never want to watch again.
I was debating that too by the time I was done. I was eating pizza while I was watching this, and then I think 30 minutes after I got done eating, I was like, man, my chest hurts.
I intentionally didn't eat anything while I watched it this time.
It was just indigestion from pizza sauce, but yeah.
I was waiting. I thought you were going into a bit where you're gonna be like. So I turned to my wife and asked her, "Were you rushing or dragging?"
I ask myself the same thing every time we have sex. So.
Oh damn! I don't have my soundboard. I would have something for that.
Yeah. At least you're on your own fucking time.
At least that was so good. Good job, Andy. You just didn't even break. You just deadpan said it. Wonderful. What a treasure. But yeah. So anyway, I've wanted an excuse to watch this movie again for a while because I didn't know if I could bring myself to do it. And I can remember a couple years ago at a party that I held at the house. Andy, I think you may have been a part of this conversation, but I just remember a group of us were talking about music-based movies, and I brought this up, and I was like, this is my favorite movie that's revolved around music or based on music. And I can't remember, someone brought up the thing, but funny enough, it branched off into the conversation about the movie that we're going to watch next week. But small world, we'll get to that. But anyway, I just remember having to defend what I loved about this movie, but then saying, but I've only watched it one time. And that person simply said, how could you say you love a movie so much that you've only watched one time? I thought, well, that's a fair point. So it's been my mission since that specific conversation to find a reason to watch it. And here we are. So, and I'm glad I did. Yeah. I'm glad I chose this. So, I mean, just we can get kind of a brief overview. So, our main character is a young, promising student who has joined what's the name of it? Schaefer Conservatory school.
It's the best music school as he breaks up with his girlfriend.
Yeah, It is the best music school in the country, or specific to jazz. And he wants to be the best jazz drummer in the world. Like he makes it very clear later in the movie with his own ego. Like he is not simply just looking to try to love his art, or he wants to become famous and be remembered and like etch his own name in history as one of the greatest to ever do this. So
Wants to be the next Buddy Rich.
yeah, so he has those aspirations to do that, and they give you enough tones of how he's kind of the black sheep in his family because he doesn't fit the typical scheme of, oh, I'm doing debate club and model UN and playing football and all that. So like they fit that in later on, and not to be honest, like I'm pretty sure he probably has autism, but there's a touch of autism, but
Oh, he definitely has a mental disorder.
Yeah.
oh
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
any doubts.
after a car crash and still wants to drum. Fuck, that's a total mental illness there.
No, he really does. Like he has a lot of features that fit for autism, which would explain too. I mean again, it's not your stereotypical autism, but like very mild, like high functioning. Like there's some there, but
Well, if we all agree on that, then is he a sympathetic main character? Are you supposed to feel really bad for him?
that's a great question.
He's kind of an asshole because he's obsessing to get the likings of Fletcher, obviously.
Like the way he treats breaking up with his girlfriend, I was like, is this guy a psychopath? Like,
Yeah,
what's going
what the
on here?
Like
and he fucking hates his
transaction.
dad. He loves Fletcher more than his dad, it seems like.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Again, autism. Like I'm telling, like seriously, this it's not like just a joke. Like he has some very serious issues with interpersonal connections. The one that he gets the most is probably the most abusive, toxic relationship he can have on a personal level.
Well, it's
But
because he
it's
needs something out of that relationship. He's not engaging with Fletcher because he wants an interpersonal relationship. He's engaging with Fletcher because Fletcher can teach him and get him connections and move him along on his journey to become the greatest jazz drummer of the 2000s, which no one would know who you are anyway. So
Yeah.
That's
no offense to jazz musicians, but
that's true. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of the movie. Is he ends up finding this mentor within the school who is also notoriously like the Bobby Knight of fucking jazz conductors. Like, if you guys don't know who Bobby Knight's, the coach who used to throw chairs and shit at basketball games.
Or just a drill sergeant. You could like pin it down to that. A drill sergeant for music, essentially. Where he's pushing a private pile of drumming to a point. to
throwing some of the same insults too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking that chubby little trumpet player or whatever he was. Quit thinking about Big Macs. Come on.
I was thinking more of him dropping the F slur on that other drummer, but
Oh yeah, he did. Well, I mean, to be fair, he looked kind of metrosexual, you know.
maybe. I mean, the vibe I got was he had found out that guy in fact was gay, and that now he was using it as like a way to demean him, because he does the same thing to Andrew. He says, are there any musicians in your family? What's your dad do? What's your mom do? And then immediately turns around and uses that against him. This is why mommy left. Oh, your dad's going to be the most famous person in your family. And even though he's a loser. And
yeah, we also threw the other F-bombs around just
in general.
Too. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to tell, really.
Yeah, I mean, he basically didn't hold back anything other than just like pointing at a black person and calling him a hard R. You know, like that's effectively where the line was drawn, because I don't think they'd be allowed to make the movie. But
you're allowed to say the N word in movies. Quentin Tarantino has a very illustrated career.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Does my house look like DNS? I'm not gonna repeat the.
God, why? Go watch Pulp Fiction. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, speaking of mental illness, I mean, you talk about some narcissism and just, whew. Like, Simmons' character, Fletcher, is just, he's such an interesting character, though, right? Because the guy is just, he's an asshole beyond repair, but to some level, I click with what he's trying to do. Again, I'm not justifying at all, like, the route he goes. I mean, clearly, like, you know, they
Is
give
there a
you the,
line? Is there a limit? That's what
I mean,
Andrew asked him.
that he
He
does.
seems to think there's not.
He doesn't, because he thinks it's the old greatness at any cost, and he'll push. And you know, I mean, clearly, like, they give you so much of that character that make him seem so complex, because you know he's breaking these people down, but then he also cares so deeply about, I guess, the few that he may have gotten to, like the uh, player that he had that ended up, you know, going in and becoming a professional and being successful for a couple of years, but then ends up committing suicide because of severe depression and anxiety. And it's like, he's probably the one that led the person. The movie gives you that assumption, and I like that they don't go too far into that. Like, they let you just take it for what it is, and kind of put your own assertions on it based on how he treats the others. But you know, is his abuse what sparked this person to have a downward spiral in their own life and ultimately commit suicide? But then he shows how much he cares about what that person was able to make. So then,
Well, I think that's the problem. I think he cares about what he made than the actual person, because
yeah,
and you know, it makes him look good when he's producing these amazing artists because it's good on his resume
But
compared
he
to.
was getting weepy. He was getting all
Oh, that's what
all
cult leaders
sad.
do. That's what
but
yeah.
yeah.
that's
Is
the
that
thing though, is
manipulation or is it genuine?
but
Mhm.
I don't actually think it's because of personal gain. Like, hear me out. I actually think, and this is not me defending Fletcher. I guess it is to a point, but like, it doesn't justify it. I don't think Fletcher. I think Fletcher genuinely believes that he has a purpose that he has to try to push as much as he can to make the next Charlie Parker. Like, that is truly what he's pushing for. Like, that moment is set in his head. Is like, I exist to make this happen one other time, and that's what he's pushing for. So if he's able to have someone make something beautiful out of that, I think he would feel like his goal has been met. And maybe he felt like he got close, maybe he didn't. But I don't think
The
he was
ends
ever
justify
doing
the
it.
means, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think he ever was doing it because he would get something out of it. Like, I don't think he was like, I'll push this person so that I get fame, or I get the recognition for making them what they are, or I get this or that. Like, I'm sure there's ego there to a point, but I think it's legitimately because he loved the music and he wanted to push someone to their. He
Yeah,
wanted someone to be able to be that next generational talent, and I
yeah.
don't think he cared that it
I
was
don't think it
him,
was
just that it
money.
existed.
I don't think it was money. I think you're right. It was more of an ego, but like I got that out of him, essentially. Like that
Right.
music, I pushed him that far. If I didn't push him that far, he'd be the mediocre musician and never be what he has become. But he may have pushed too hard, and maybe there is some type of emotion. But I think it was to keep Miles Teller's character on his toes, essentially, be like, oh, he kind of cares for me. And then he goes right back to throwing fucking cymbals and chairs and at him and shit, and make him do that jizz face when he's pounding the drums and his face is like all fucked up and stuff. Like, it's. Here's my question to you guys: was it a happy ending?
Mixed. It's mixed.
Because
It's an,
I think so.
essentially, they respected each other at the end, right? But at
Yeah.
at what cost, though? His father is probably like, I just lost my child to this producer, essentially. He's always going to be chasing what he may not ever become, essentially, because it's just one good night, right? We don't know what happens after that. Fletcher could be like, cool.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
here's what I love about the ending though. So they string along this whole thing where they like, they have their huge fallout because they've snapped at each other. And to be fair, I think a lot of the reason why these two clash versus how any other two people interact, or anyone else interacts with Fletcher. Like what do most people do? Most of the musicians put their head down. They kind of just scurry away. They're not confrontational. I think it's because their personalities are so fucking alike. Like they are so similar in how they think about themselves and about music that's why there's a clash, and that's what causes it to boil to the surface and leads to the craziness. Like I think the only other person that, at least in the movie, that exists that would have crashed their car and still shown up and tried to play like Teller's character, what's his fucking name?
Andrew.
Neiman. Yeah, Andrew. The only other person that would have done that is Fletcher. Like I think Fletcher had the same type of drive that he would have wrecked a car and then shown up and still conducted, and then been like, well, yeah, because this is what I have to do. But nevertheless, they have their fallout. They have this weird like moment where they see each other down the road after they've moved on. They have that conversation that kind of is enlightening to see. Okay, maybe you see a method to the madness. Now, I do want to come back to that too, because that's not a method that's unheard of in medicine too. It's definitely something that's going away now because it's seen as something that's negative and toxic. But something very similar is done in medicine, or had been for a long time. But anyway, he invites him to come back and be that drummer at the end, but they end up pulling the rug out from under you. Yeah, because he's like, I knew it was you, you little bitch. And then he doesn't tell him he planned on another song and lets him bomb right in front of everyone, right?
Yeah.
Here's the question. Did he do it? Did he do it to actually get back at him for personal like vindication, or did he do it because he was trying to push him again? Like that's the whole thing with this movie, is how much of what he's doing is because he's just an asshole, or how much of it is because he's actually testing the person. And there's never a right. I don't think there's a right answer. It's left, I think, open enough. Like him bringing the other guy in, Connolly or whatever, to be the person. Like they leave it open enough, but I think again, he even says later, like, oh, he just did that to push him. Like it seems like everything he does up to a certain point is to push him. So then, like, it's one of your guys' interpretation of that. Like, was he really just trying to get back to him and ruin him, or was this his? I threw a symbol at you.
There's enough ambiguity in his character that you can kind of support either, because there's that interaction where he's talking to like one of his former students, like little girl, and he's like, "Are you going to come play piano for me one day?" And so he's being a sweet old man or whatever. There's enough of that in the movie that it kind of makes you think, wait, is he just always just a horrible monster or whatever? And the thing is, like, we're only seeing snippets. Presumably they're rehearsing for hours every day. And so is he being that terrible all the time, or sometimes is it just, let's go from bar 70 on the downbeat, okay, we played, and maybe fix this or whatever. But
right,
at the end, to your question, like I don't know, I think he sees any adversity as a possible test of a musician's character. So I think he set out to do exactly what it looks like he's setting out to do, but with that possibility of who knows what's going to happen, because he chose that part of what makes the ending so interestingly ambiguous is the same thing that sets up what he has done to be so very sinister, is because he points out, look, there's people out there who can sign for Blue Note. There's people out there who are recruiting for studio musicians. There's people out there who will get you a residency at wherever it was, Carnegie or whatever.
Oh, Lincoln Center. Yeah.
There's a ton of important people in the crowd. So if he went out there and like completely fucked up, he would ruin his chances at ever having a career as a professional jazz drummer without like, a decade removed of, obscurity and or practice or whatever he was going to do. So I think it was like the perfect opportunity to sabotage Andrew's career, but out of it came this, he overcame this adversity, and it was just another stupid thing that he had to do to prove that he wanted to be a great drummer.
Right.
Zach, do you have anything to say?
I think in that instance, he was being more of a vindictive asshole that time, and it just backfired on him. Judging from a lot of his reactions and stuff during that, like, he just seemed like he really wanted to just fuck him over. Because he fucked his career over, because he testified against him in that lawsuit or whatever it was. There was a scene setting that up.
Right. And that's the thing. I don't know for sure, but that's what I think everything would lead you to that. It's probably giving him too much generosity to say, oh no, he was testing him too.
Yeah.
But there are other things he could have done to sabotage him instead. Like
kill him.
He didn't have him come and practice with him, right? He could have made the entire set something else. Right? Like,
yeah.
This is a person that's as good at their job, and he's working with a professional band. They could have easily had played several other things. They didn't have to just do all the same set, and he just add one song. So that's what made me think, okay, he did it once. Maybe that is enough. It's like, okay, it's a win-win for me. Either I get revenge on this kid, or I get my Charlie Parker. Like that. I really think that's what this comes down to. This is the other thing that's beautiful about this, is that he's all just completely brokenhearted because he looks like a complete fool, humiliates himself, walks off, taking his jacket off, walks toward his dad. What the fuck does his dad say to him? He fucking hugs him and says, "It's okay. You did a good job. Let's go." He hears that and he's like, "Fuck this," and walks back out there and then does what he does because Fletcher told him earlier in the movie, the most damaging 2 words anyone can say to another human being is "good job."
But what's funny is the very last frame of the movie, last thing you see is Fletcher, and you don't see what he's like. It looks like he's nodding his head at him or something after, he got done with his massive ass drum solo. But to me, I think he actually said "good job," because you can see like his cheeks, like his eyes. You know how when people are talking, like their eyes kind of move a little bit, like their cheeks do and stuff. It looks like he mouthed the word "good job."
But you know what? It means a lot to Andrew from Fletcher than his own
coming
dad.
from him.
And I think that's why he like did that goofy ass smile at the end where he's like out of breath. And in my mind, I think it's a bittersweet ending because he did get Fletcher's approval, but also lost his fucking girlfriend and dad in the process because he has no social life anymore.
Oh, I don't think he lost his dad. Like, I think maybe his dad sees some conflict here, but I don't. What I got out of the ending is something completely different. I wasn't pleased that he got.
Sorry.
Really?
We'll get a bag of fucking sun chips.
Nothing but professionalism from Big Trouble and Little Podcast, everyone.
Good job.
Anyway, what I got out of the ending
wasn't
pleasure that he got approval from Fletcher. It's that he fucked up Fletcher's performance. He goes back out there and he's okay, we're going to bring it down now. And then he goes into Caravan as a way of being like, hey, fuck you. I love that.
Like, when
he does. Like, it's not just a way of saying it. He just actually says it. And then he's like, I'll cue you in. Like, he starts, what he does is he becomes Buddy Rich. He becomes a band leader who's a badass drummer. And he tells people, look, I'll bring you in, bassist. I'll get the rhythm section in. Everyone's like, is this Caravan? So they just play Caravan. It wasn't the next song on the set list. It was just time for Caravan.
Yeah. It's fucking
That's how
great.
I took it through. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got out of it as well.
Yeah, I don't think he went out there to get Fletcher's respect. I think he went back out there to fuck him.
Oh, he did. He went out there to give him the middle finger.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think he went. Also, like, again, he's also thinking in his own mind. There could be the thought of revenge. There could be the thought of, no, I fell on my face. I need to go out there and show, like, that's not who I am. If it's the last time I ever get to play in a performance like this, I'm going to go out on my own terms. And again, it's one of those things. At what point is that push like how far is too far to push someone to then spark that creation, and then like you get it here. Like I feel like that ending to me is like almost electric. Like it is great, and like the whole movie has this like up and down, and then you finally get some type of payoff. But then the question is, was all the torment that happened before that, was all that worth what was there? And I think it's definitely something that is not as simple as yes or no. I mean, to some, it's going to be okay. If they have that much love and passion for what they do, then it would be worth it. If they don't, then it's not worth it. Like, or and as others, even if they do have the passion for it, maybe it's too dehumanizing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm almost jealous. I wish I cared that much about something that I would be willing to be pushed that far to do it.
You wouldn't have anything else in your life.
Yeah, because I know you've got autism, so like you'd just be by yourself there.
Yeah, sounds fucking wonderful.
So do you?
I'm my family.
You'd be living in a mansion. You'd be like a private doctor. You'd be prescribing painkillers even though they don't need it, just because that's what they want.
If the two downstairs weren't here, if the two downstairs were not with me and it was just me, I don't know if I'd be doing medicine, but that's a whole other kettle of fish, right? I'd find something else to keep myself alive.
You need a Fletcher coach for your cardboard games.
Oh nah. God. He'd be throwing cards at you, paper cutting your face.
Yeah, that's I don't know if I want to do all that. But yeah, it's I just love I love the conversations that this movie can even create, because again, just about passion. Is there anything out there that someone would care about enough and then say, yeah, I would be willing to cross the line to be the greatest at? I mean, and there are so many other examples of that. And again, what's the purpose of that thing? Like, are you doing it to actually just feel like you are the greatest in the world at what you do? Are you doing it just for that fame and legacy? Are you doing it because of money, or this or that? Yeah, and it's I think there's some beauty in it, but also it is very bittersweet in the fact that people can lose themselves in something like that. That all said, I don't want to keep rambling on a bunch of nonsense. I did want to come back and kind of tie into what I meant earlier about this being something similar to what happens in medicine. And I think I've actually talked about this before on the show, but it was not an uncommon practice for surgeons to treat surgery residents like this during surgeries. Like the type of things that Fletcher was doing, like I mean, he's not throwing shit across the room, but like actively yelling and like talking down and just saying the most insane shit to people while they're trying to play or interrupting them. Like that's the type of stuff that a lot of surgeons would do to their residents. And the idea was that you would try to create as much pressure as you possibly could in otherwise what would be less dangerous situations. Like they're clearly not doing this as they're right inside of somebody, but maybe they would do it while the person was like sewing someone up or in a different situation, like rounding. They would just create high pressure situations that weren't necessary at all. And I mean, I witnessed some of this as a medical student, just working in the surgery rotation. It was an intense like month or 2 months, but I can't say that it was bad. Like I understood the method to the madness, and the idea was that if you are too timid or indecisive to do exactly what you need to do both mentally and physically when you're actively doing surgery on someone, it could cost them their life. So you can't fuck around with that. So if you can't work in high pressure, you have no business fucking doing that job, right? So
I get it for the sake of learning, but I don't want to be the person under the scalpel when someone's getting shouted at.
No, I know, absolutely. Well, and again, this is where the dilemma is that you also can call it it's a really toxic way to try to teach someone. And again, I get that it's the tradition. That's the way it had been for a long time. But we know now, like, that's not the right way to do it. Like, there's still ultimately ways to teach people how to do things correctly without needing to create that situation. And furthermore, like you said, do you really want to be the person under someone who is going into that situation? Because yelling at someone could also cause someone to buckle and fuck up, and that means you're hurting somebody, right? You're leaving, surgical sponges inside someone when they're not supposed to be left there, or the suture is all bodgy and fucked up, and now this person has a weird scar because they got yelled at a little bit, right?
And PTSD every time that you go do a surgery, you're gonna be thinking about that dude that's fucking yelling at you the whole time. Am I doing this shit right? Like, I hate that type of like teaching, because I am one of those people. If you yell at me, I will shut down. And if you keep on yelling at me, I might turn into a killer. I might put a bomb under your car and call you up like Speed and be like, "Pop quiz, hot shot. You nice? You like being nice?" But like,
you might be like Andrew and spear him on the stage and start trying to choke him to death.
Yeah, it's just like that shit doesn't work. I'm not in the military. I don't need that. Like I get it with doctors. Like there is some high situations like that, but I don't think it should be treated like a drill sergeant screaming in the air. Are you gonna sew up that organ? Are you gonna do it? Are you sure? Are you sure you did it? It's like, okay, what does that prove? Like, I get it. There's high risk situations where you might have to think really quickly. I think there's better ways you could teach people that by telling them how important it is to, essentially don't go partying the day before a surgery that you have to do, or essentially like that, or other things as like make sure you get good sleep, essentially. Even though I know that sometimes
surgeries.
Yeah. But I just think there's better ways besides yelling, and I've always, in every job, when a boss yells at me, I just go, okay, well, I'm not doing it now. What are you going to do about it? Like,
fuck you.
Yeah. But I know a doctor's situation is different compared to a retail or whatever I've done. But
yeah.
I do have one question for you guys. Who stole the music folder?
I was going to ask that.
I don't know. I honestly thought it was Fletcher, is what I was
too.
waiting to find out. But you don't find that out, so who knows? I have no clue.
Yep.
Honestly, I would also accept Andrew, like in some weird like selective memory thing. He sabotaged it because maybe he knew the other guy couldn't memorize his. He's played it so many times. Like at first, I was like, "There's no way he doesn't know those charts," but then he says it's like a medical thing. And I was like, "Okay, I guess."
Yeah, whatever, weirdo. Yeah, I don't know if I'm fully buying that either. Like as many times as they've played it, how is it not memory? And like,
how could you be a jazz musician and not memorize charts? Like there's so many like standards you have to just know off the top of your head. It's silly.
At that level, like you would think, like, okay, I get it. If it's that point where you literally have a problem and you can't memorize it, that's great. But then, like, doesn't that also mean that you just don't get to be where you're at? Like, sorry, it's just how that works. I don't know. Yeah, I always thought it was Fletcher, but I could see it was Andrew. But I took that because every little nuance of one little thing or the other that just seems like he's trying to sabotage Andrew actually turns out he was testing him. And that's kind of why at the end I asked, like, do you think that he did it just out of spite, or was it actually to test him again? Because pretty much any other time he's pushing him to see how far he'll go. And yeah, I mean, eventually he snaps. But also, like, I mean, Andrew's a fuck up too. Like, Andrew gets rushed and forgets shit all the time. Like, there's all kinds of stuff there that happens. Like whenever he gets in the car accident.
Yeah. Chaz, you already said you really like this movie. You're excited to watch it for a second time. It's your pick. You like this movie a lot, right?
Yes, I do.
And on a previous episode of the show, Dubs, you said this is one of your favorite movies of all time. Is that right?
It's up there. I wouldn't. I really enjoyed it. I would say it's in the top 20 at least of all time.
Zach, what do you think about this movie, like overall?
I really liked it, but it's kind of like what Chaz was saying earlier. Is like, I don't know if I want to watch this again. Maybe someday. Like, one of those. I've watched plenty of movies. I thought that was great, and then like I don't really want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I guess my question to all three of you then is, as succinctly as possible, what do you like about this movie?
Let you guys go first.
It's gonna sound fucked up. I kind of enjoyed the process of him getting that music out because he was like yelling at him essentially, even though I like hated that. I just went on a rant about that stuff. I think because it's good storytelling. I think it's good because it's just like, oh, here's this prick teacher. I use this movie like Full Metal Jacket with the drill sergeant and Private Pile. I mean, Andrew didn't kill himself, but
Somebody else did.
yeah. There was parts of like, remember when the drill sergeant sees Private Pile actually doing his shots? He's like, "Hell yeah, you're a killer, son," and all that stuff. Like, that's how I felt at the end of this movie.
I may let you serve as a rifleman in my beloved corps. I love that line.
Yeah. That's how I took the ending of Whiplash a little bit. Is like he created what he wanted out of him, essentially.
But turned him into a killing machine.
Yeah, a drumming killing machine. But yeah, I love the story. A quick side note. You're going to see a lot of like YouTube videos where they try to compare, like, I am a musician, like jazz drummer, and this is not how we did practice and stuff. I'm like, of course, because it's Hollywood, motherfucker. Like, of course,
that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed the story, and I thought it had a poetic ending, essentially.
Chaz, that succinct?
I'll go next. I enjoyed the intensity of the movie. I'm kind of somebody when I watch a movie, I do more feels as I'm watching it, and then I think about it after I'm done. And this movie had a ton of intensity to it, like with the tension and the anxiousness it inflicts on the viewer.
The tone of the movie.
The tone, yeah. And then there was cool, subtle bits to the overall storytelling of the movie too. Like we talked about, like, did Fletcher do this? Did he mean this or not? I don't know. Like all that kind of stuff. Is the main character that was another thing where you brought up earlier. Is the main character sympathetic or not? The answer is kind of.
Well, should you be sympathetic to someone with a mental disorder?
Well, it's not their fault they're that way.
Exactly.
So yeah, I am sympathetic because I'm a person that has empathy, but then at the same time, I'm like, man, he's kind of a dick too. It's a mixed bag. I felt bad for the girl, but then it was funny later when he called her. He's like, "Oh, I got a boyfriend. I don't know if we're going to go." And he's just like, "Oh."
Duh, what did he expect? Stupid.
I know. Well, the movie kind of tricks you a little bit because you've seen so many movies, you think, is she going to get back together? Is she going to go to the show? And this movie does that a lot, actually, where it kind of plays off tropes like what you expect to happen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do that at all.
Well, you talk about like the girlfriend and stuff. He's like an asshole to everybody, though, in like my opinion.
Family.
Yeah, because like they start off nice, but then like they kind of get condescending themselves.
That scene has one of the biggest laughs of the movie, though. I really like, what do you think of football so easy? You should come play with us. And he says 4 words you'll never hear from the NFL. I laughed so hard I had to rewind because I didn't hear the next several lines.
That scene was like, it's another one where it's like a mixed bag. Like, yeah, he's kind of a dick, but then like the rest of his family that's like not his dad, they talk to him in like a really condescending manner about anything he's doing. Like it's what he's doing is not important or like worthwhile, basically. And even like, I guess that was like either the woman sitting across from his dad was like, that was either his sister or like
his aunt,
or like his brother's wife, whatever that was. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you got teacher of the year." Like she was kind of shitting on him too, really. Good job.
Yeah.
By the way, his uncle or whoever that was at the head of the table, that was Hank Jennings in Twin Peaks. I was like, I did the thing. I pointed at the screen. I was like, "Oh, it's Chris Mulkey, Hank Jennings." That's pretty much what I got out of it, though.
But he also like he stopped going to the movies with his dad and shit. He's like, I don't want to go fucking movie watching with you anymore. Like he didn't say that out loud.
Yeah, that wasn't really addressed. It's just something that you see stopped happening, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I got out of it. I like the tone and the intensity of the movie.
It is intense. It's an intense flick.
Yeah. I guess tie into why I like this movie so much is there are a few movies that I finished watching the movie and want a cigarette. Like, and again, I don't know why that's the feeling that I have. I fucked up again and did not have anything to smoke after this. I should have went and got a cigar or something. But I love the emotional roller coaster that this movie is, and I love the climax of the movie because we've talked about it a little bit, but we didn't talk about the actual technicality of the nonsensically awesome drum solo he plays. Like the man just goes absolutely batshit crazy, and it's great. I don't know, like they found a way to bottle so much stress and anxiety and then just release it right at the end, and you get this ultimate high at the end. I don't know why I feel so satisfied, because it's like I'm almost rooting for them because of how much they're pulling their own humanity, dragging it down in order to attempt to create lightning in a bottle. And I'd like to think that they did right there at the very end, and maybe that's why I feel so satisfied for the journey that happens. Is it actually worth it ultimately? I have no fucking idea, but at least within the context of the story. But as a viewer, it absolutely is, because of just how I feel. I get them tummy tingles. I don't know, just so I just like it for that. It's such a thrilling experience, and it's kind of unique in that way. Like it's almost the same way that I would feel about like a horror movie in a way.
This was a horror movie, yes.
Almost like they're just like a lot of suspense build up, but except like it'd be like a horror movie, except at the very end, the protagonist like just teetotally whips the dog shit out of the main villain. I don't know, like the way that you would get some type of release. And I don't know if it's a weird way to explain it, but I don't know of any other music films that I've watched that give off that same type of crescendo and build up and end. I'm sure maybe there is one. So maybe I'm just not cultured enough to know.
Maybe Black Swan. They kind of both have similar goals of getting success.
That's true. They do have a lot of similarities now that you point it out.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's to a point. Maybe this one just clicked with me more because of the drumming. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I can certainly see why this movie isn't for everyone too. Maybe I'm also intrigued enough about the concept of someone being driven or having that purpose and what that line is. So maybe that moral grayness is just intriguing enough to me that I'm willing to be like, oh yeah, this is a 10 out of 10, blah, blah, blah. Not that I think it is, but I think there are a few things that I would like about the movie to be different. But
Andy, as a drummer, did your hands ever bleed? And two, did you ever punch your drum? I want to know.
I mean, technically, yes to both of those. not to the extremes that are in this movie or anything, but yeah, totally.
Okay. And I guess the
way his hands bleed in this movie is not believable. I'm sorry.
That is fair.
Like, you get blisters right here. Yes, that's it though. Like his knuckles are bleeding and stuff. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they had stuff in weird spots, and I was like, that doesn't make sense for how you're holding your sticks. Like even for him holding the sticks the way he did, I didn't get how he would have.
He plays not match grip, reverse grip, like a jazz drummer does for a lot of the time. And the only way
Right.
his knuckles would be bleeding if he was busting his knuckles on the rim of the snare or the hi-hat when he's playing. And the only reason he'd be doing that is if he has poor technique. And the movie indicates to us that he practices religiously. He would probably have immaculate technique because he's been playing. He's in the best music school in the country or whatever. So I whatever. Like blisters, yes, he should have had blisters, and they should have been all cut up. But like, it goes to this ridiculous extreme of being like, oh, look how tore up he is, look how cut up he is.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense anywhere else. Only like right here, like on the sides, like you said. I mean, that's where I never got to the point where I would always stop when I would play. Like I would get blisters, and you can cover them up. But I never got to the point that he did. But I mean, I wasn't also practicing to that extent that I would be like rubbing like crazy.
No, I tore open blisters at a couple live shows a couple times, but that's it. Oops, hit the mic.
I can see that. Yeah.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, do you like this movie?
question. You didn't answer it.
Oh, I didn't say I like this movie.
I know. I'm asking you. Did you like it?
You know what? Gun to my head. Do you like Whiplash? Yes or no? Yes, I do like this movie. However, I don't like it as much as everyone else does. I think. I don't want to sound like one of the YouTubers that Dubs is talking about, but like, there's so much of this movie that's just like buffoonishly unrealistic that I just couldn't really get on board with it. That being said, it is like one of the best shot, edited, and acted movies like ever made. It's got that tone, like Zach was saying. It's so suspenseful, and it's so well put together. And I love the music in it. And I like I'm a drummer too. Like I had Zach had that moment with the Twin Peaks thing. I had that moment where he looks at that picture and goes, "Oh man, is that picture of Buddy?" And then he puts in a Buddy Rich CD, and it is Buddy Rich. Just, oh sweet, that's awesome. Like I like stuff like that. Like I was never, I played drums a lot. I was in a jazz band for a summer just with some friends. We tried to play Caravan and we couldn't do it. And I was the reason because I suck so hard. That song is cool. Though another gripe about this movie that's not really the movie's fault. After I watched it, I wanted to listen to Caravan because that's a song that I just genuinely really like. And I told the Amazon device, whose name I won't speak because it'll start saying things, to play Caravan. And it played the version of Caravan from this movie. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to hear. I want to hear like it's a Duke Ellington song. I wanted to hear either that or like one of the covers of the jazz greats or whatever. But no, it plays the fucking Whiplash soundtrack. God damn it! No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the actual Caravan. And the version from the movie's fan fucking tastic, of course. But I wanted to hear the classic stuff. I just ended up listening to Buddy Rich instead. But I like this movie a lot. But like Andrew sucks. It's cool that he has all this drive and stuff, and he's a compelling character, and I do want to see him succeed. But the lengths he goes to it are like self-destructive to the point where I feel like someone in his life would have to be like, "Oh, you're destroying yourself." His father kind of does it, but his father's like, I hate to say it this way, but his father's kind of a pussy about it. He's like, I don't want to see you get hurt, son. Oh my baby, that guy is not the best person. Like he doesn't just give it to him straight, and that's not always going to happen. You're not always going to have that support from someone in your life or whatever. The other side of the movie, the other thing that makes the movie so compelling is Fletcher, but he is just, he's a monster, and that's the point. But he's almost a monster to like a ridiculous end. Like it's almost cartoonish sometimes, like how terrible he is. They want to be like, oh, he's just tearing him down so that he can make him, only the greats are going to get through. He's going to make the next Bird. He's going to make the next great jazz musician. But they never show you the building up. Like he's tearing them down, but you never see him build them up. And that's like, he's like a teacher. He's like one of the most prestigious teachers at the most prestigious music school in the country. You'd think maybe he'd teach a little bit.
But see, that's actually the thing I like about his character. It's one of his major flaws. His entire state of mind is built around that singular moment where, Charlie Parker has a cymbal thrown at his head because he fucks up on stage, and then he decides to, bounce back and practice and get better.
Yeah,
but
that
he
happened
makes
to
it.
Charlie once.
No,
Not
exactly.
every single day for years.
But hold on, let me finish. That's my point. Is he makes it sound like that one moment is what defined him instead of all of the work he put in. And in his mind, it was the whole thing of how much do I have to push and break someone down so they can build themselves back up. He's missing the critical part, and that's where his character is heavily flawed. That's why he's never had anybody to do that, because he's not building them up. He is just breaking them down. And
Yeah,
those that are
like
strong enough to build themselves back up and figure it out, survive maybe, and those who don't get weeded out, and they're just kind of left in his wake. And that's kind of the point too, is that he's relying just on the one side of the process, not the other part where he is inspiring anyone. And what's sad is I think his character would be willing to do that. He's clearly able to show compassion in like little snippets or moments, even unless he's just being completely fake. No, but I genuinely think he could do it. But I think he almost thinks he has to be that monster in order to get what he envisions to be his goal. And that's what's, to me, is just interesting about it, is he's just going about it the wrong way, but he thinks that he's right. And actually he's missing the whole point, is that
Just like all of history's greatest monsters.
yeah, exactly. Like again, I think that he is onto something to some extent. Like there is something about just being able to say good job to someone that can be destructive to their development. Like you hinder someone by not pushing them, but there is a line, and it's more than just pushing someone. You also help. You push someone, but you push. Let's see. I don't know, it's like the right word. So you push by challenging someone, but you also
want to bend them, not break them.
push in the sense that you're actually giving them the nudge, like you're encouraging them, like, because again, you're not teaching anything that way, and not everyone is going to learn the same way or develop in the same way. So yeah. Anyway, I know we've went down that aspect at length. I agree. We've talked about some flaws in the movie. I kind of like that the characters are assholes. I don't necessarily want
Don't get me wrong. I love Seinfeld and It's Always Sunny as well, but
I was kind of waiting on for there to be like a moment where he actually kind of levels with him.
That's that you were talking about that earlier, where you expect tropes to come in, and the movie deprives you of that
either.
Yeah,
and I kind of felt like it did need that at least one time, because there is an element of that at play, in real life with people that are kind of hard asses.
Yeah,
and people find their balance, because like, okay, the flip side of this movie is the toxic positivity, where everybody's great all the time, they're always wonderful all the time, and
that's
everybody
what he's saying.
Everybody fucking sucks in reality.
I feel like a boomer being like, all these fucking participation trophies and blah blah blah.
The ideal is to strike some kind of balance. You can lean one way or the other a touch.
I guess would that have been as interesting of a movie if there was a balance in Fletcher's performance?
I think it wouldn't have hurt it, actually, if there was just that one scene where maybe, where he's in the bar talking to him, maybe. Like, maybe if he just said, like, I really thought it would have been you, but I don't know, it just didn't work out. Something like that.
Kind of indicates it a little bit. I don't. If his character had that weird like redemption moment, it wouldn't be as satisfying when Andrew comes back on stage at the end and plays Caravan.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's my favorite part of the whole damn movie. So
it is great.
Yeah, but like I said, I didn't. I like this movie. I'll probably watch it again. I do like it pretty well. I didn't feel. I don't want to be. I feel like I'm trying to be an edgelord, and I'm not. But I didn't feel at the end of it the way I think everyone else did, as far as the stress went. I just kind of like had a nice time watching an interesting, suspenseful movie. But I think both objectively and subjectively, I'm probably wrong on this, because this movie is very popular. Everyone loves this movie, so I guess I'm the odd man out on this. This movie is 39th most popular of all time on IMDb, and I can't remember where it is on Letterboxd, but it's in the top 20.
There you go.
People and the poster for this movie is that obnoxious where it's just accolade, or not. I think it's like astonishing, amazing,
Riveting,
fantastic
amazing.
performance, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And then there's just a drum set at the bottom and it says Whiplash. So okay, thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everyone really likes this movie. I liked this movie. I'll probably watch it again at some point, but I do have a lot of problems with. I don't know. Maybe something was wrong. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace. But I feel like maybe it's a little bit of what Dubs was talking about, where there's a lot of drummers want to be like, well, this isn't realistic, and that's not. I've never been a music student in a college or anything. I'm not that level or anything. But there's some stuff about it that I was like, I don't buy that, but okay, I'm still along for the ride. I'm still having a nice time.
Mm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like teachers out there that are like Fletcher, but not to the point of what he is in this movie.
Oh, you wouldn't get a job if that's all you had.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was driving up before, but I didn't finish up. Like, you couldn't get hired as a teacher if you never had, elevated and taught.
Fuck,
people or
especially these
whatever.
days.
Yeah, it's true. But no, we all like this movie. We all recommend this movie. Most of us will watch this movie again at some point, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
sure
a
I'll find
few
another
years.
reason to. I need to remember though. Have tobacco after. Gotta have it ready.
All right, so here's what happened. You guys all chose. I think I looked it up. I think all the movies that all three of you chose for this month won Picture of the Year. They all won several awards. They all kick ass.
I didn't even know that.
They're all great. And originally, I had wanted to maybe choose the movie that Zach ended up picking, but that's fine. We're going to watch it. That's what matters. And I had a really good movie lined up that actually shares a lot in common with Whiplash. I highly recommend it. If you want to watch it as extra credit, viewers, go watch Sound of Metal. Really good. It's also about the lengths a drummer will go to in order to get to pursue his craft, his art, or whatever. But I nixed that. Look, we can't watch only the best movies ever made. So we're going to watch one of my least favorite movies, like I teased last week. We're going to watch Drumline from 2002. I fucking cannot stand this movie. It came out when I was in high school in Drumline, and they made us watch it in class at some point. Like one of those nothing days. It was like the last day before a vacation or something. And it was like the second or third time I'd seen it. And I was just like, I fucking can't stand this piece of shit. And I haven't watched it since high school. So I'm kind of interested to revisit it because I've always told people it's on my list of like my 5 least favorite movies ever made. So in the interest of not always just watching like the best movies ever made on Big Trouble, we're gonna watch a stinker. We're gonna watch Drumline.
Yeah, I'm excited. I remember distinctly being in high school, and there were entire groups of people in high school that made this movie their entire personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. The one good thing that came out of Drumline is it popularized this stupid performance, like a Drumline thing. And there was like a dumb stage show thing that the high school band always did. And I never liked it. I'm not a stage singy dancey guy. But after Drumline came out, they started adding a Drumline segment to each show. And that always kicked ass. That was a ton of fun. I like doing that. So that's the only thing that good came out of it, though. Otherwise, Nick Cannon's in this movie, and he has sucked at everything he's ever done, including parenting. So...
Including staying with Mariah Carey. Jesus fuck.
Oh, damn.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what time it is? It's not Vader time.
Oh, man.
It's going to be time for host credits. We still don't have an ad?
We don't have an ad yet.
Well, good. I'm going to go first then. I beat Yakuza Kiwami 2. Had I done that last week? I don't think I had.
No, you said you were close to beating it.
I was close. I think I beat it the next night after we recorded. Kiwami 2 is awesome. It has a surprise at the end that made me literally shout involuntarily. I went, "What the fuck?" Like really loud. Like it's a good thing I live by myself, honestly, because it was a very shocking story beat. Story-wise, I think it's my favorite Yakuza game I've played so far. Game-wise, it's my second favorite. Like a Dragon is still my favorite, but the story in Kiwami 2 is or in 2 for that matter. Kiwami 2 is just a remake of 2, but is outstanding. I loved it to death. The game's great. Highly recommended. Then I played and beat Gunstar Heroes. I actually had been trying to play and beat Gunstar Heroes for almost a month. That game is hard as balls. And I was even like kind of cheesing it a bit with save states and stuff because I was playing it on the Genesis collection. You guys played Gunstar Heroes?
I'm not.
It's a Genesis classic, as so they say. I'm okay with not owning the cartridge now. It's cool. But honestly, the game's like gorgeous and plays really well. It's just so hard. It's a very difficult game. But I did beat it. And it's cool, and now I can say I beat that game. I also played and beat Sonic Spinball, which, as a kid, I thought was really hard, and it is a hard game. But I did not have as hard a time playing it now as I ever had before. There was a few like little sticking points where I was like, I don't remember what to do, but it was never like I was dying a bunch. It was more like I was a little bit lost, and I had to figure out what to do. And that game is just so fucking cool and rad and badass, and I love it. Like some people, including I've heard Zach say this before, like a game I like to hang out in. It's just like the atmosphere in Sonic Spinball and the music is just so Genesis. It's so 1994. It's so like it's I don't know. It's I love that game to death. It's so much fun. And the only thing I don't like about it is all the boss fights are kind of like meh, kind of boring.
They're weird. Some of them are like really strange too.
The one where there's just the heads and like the jar that doesn't.
In the second level, that one's just odd how you beat it.
Yeah,
it's like
nothing's really going on. I'm just trying to get into the bucket and then hit the heads. Whoop-de-doo. Also, the final boss, the final Robotnik boss, takes like a jillion hits.
God.
So, but at least it's a little more interesting. It's got like these little like side things, and he'll throw you out of them, and you have to get back to the boss room, which is a huge pain in the ass. But yeah, Sonic Spinball rules. Give it another shot. Sega wrongfully shunned it from the Sonic Origins collection, but it is on the Sega Genesis collection, which I think has been delisted from everywhere digitally, so you'll have to get it physically. But it used to be on Steam and everywhere else.
If you have the Switch online, you can just play it too.
Oh, is it on there? Okay, there you go. Do that. That's even better.
So is Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, I knew Gunstar Heroes was on there, but it's also in the Genesis collection.
Yep.
And then I have started, but not quite beat yet, Castlevania Legends for the Game Boy. You guys ever played that one?
It's the OG.
It's the one that. Yeah. Well, there's several OG Game Boy games. There's what are the two? God damn it! I beat the second one. Belmont's Revenge or something.
Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Adventure, yeah. I beat Adventure 2, and it's a pretty fun game. And I've always wanted to play Legends, even though it's non-canon. And I now understand why it's not canon, because I got to a certain point in the game. But it stars a sexy anime lady, and her entire reason for fighting Dracula is she wants to bring, like, I can't remember how she phrases it, but in a nutshell, it's like, I'm going to bring happiness back to Transylvania or something like that. It's like something like really contrived like that. And
it's like Sailor Moon, but like Castlevania.
Yeah, sure, why not? But the boss of level 5 is Alucard, and Alucard's like, I can't let you do this. I love you. And she's like, I love you too, but I'm totally going to do this. And then you fight him. And that's why it's not canon. Because it implies that Alucard and what's her face has a relationship, and that's just not canon. But
so
the game
is it good?
It's okay. It's like it's pretty good. It's above average. I'm having a good time playing it. I'm gonna beat it. It's cool. The sprites are really good. The music is not great, which is not good for a Castlevania game because those games always have to have kick-ass music. But the one thing that I cannot fucking stand about that game is it has that thing where enemies respawn, but they respawn like if you get a pixel back to the left and then back to the right, the enemy that was in that pixel respawns constantly. Like you'll jump to kill the bat, and then hit the ground, but because you moved far enough away from the top of the screen, next time you jump, the bat spawns again, and it's God damn it. It's so fucking frustrating. The way some of the enemies are placed are just like real FUs. And yeah, I've been rewinding. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. I'm going to rewind and kind of cheese the game a little bit. I'm still having fun with it, but Yeah, I'm not playing that shit. I am on the last level, and I looked it up. There's a secret level. Whoa, I'm in it now. And man, I don't think I watched a single movie. I watched a bunch of American Dad again. Who cares? I did open and record a bunch of card stuff. Twitch.tv/the cliche mustache, and also youtube.com/Big Trouble Rips is where I put up stuff after the fact. I opened a bunch of Formula One cards. The new Chrome series is out. And if you're watching this live, or if you're watching the YouTube the week of this Saturday, I'm going to open more F1 cards and some Allen and Ginter baseball cards. And I have so much Pokemon cards I'm going to open. So I have, I don't know, a bunch. I have so much Shrouded Fable. We're probably going to have to open some Shrouded Fable and some other shit or something. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. Drop them by. I had a nice time. I was opening a bunch of Pokemon cards and then that new F1 set. I thought, if anyone's going to care, it's going to be the Pokemon cards. So I did all the Pokemon cards first. And like some viewers came in and left, but no one said anything. And I started opening F1 cards. And immediately there was a guy in there. It was like, oh man, F1 cards. I can't wait for the new season to start. We were talking about like, what's your favorite team? Who's your favorite driver? And I was like, man, this is not an interaction I expected to have on Twitch. Pretty cool. So I don't know if you dig on that stuff. Come on by.
You found your niche. You're an F1 card breaker, probably.
I'm an F1 card breaker now. That's right. It's just I can't afford enough of that product. I am really close to completing Topps 2022, but that's not like a thing I've been streaming. That's just something I'm doing on the side. Real close though. I almost have the entire base set, and then I'm gonna just need some of the inserts. But yeah, that's it. I've been gaming hard. My gaming ebbs and flows, and we're in a flow.
Oh, I see it. An accelerated gamer.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm racking them up, baby.
All right, Chaz, you're next.
You are
cool.
Next.
So let's start with our the card stuff. I guess it makes sense to do that since you were doing the F1. So this was the last weekend of set champs in Lorcana for this set, and in the last two that I'd played in, I talked about this before. I'd played two different decks and managed to go undefeated, and then got the top cut in the first round, and then the top cut I lost. Well, I got tired of playing the decks that I was, so I decided to play a control deck, and I went undefeated and was top seed. And then I played in my top 8 match, and I lost. So I did it 3 times. So it was great. But this time I did have a lot of fun. It's something I haven't had. I haven't enjoyed playing the game for a handful of weeks. It's probably my own fault. I actually had a lot of fun because I didn't play some meta nonsense. I played my own deck.
Is it starting to feel like work or something?
I think so, a little bit. It's getting tedious and just a little stale because things have just been stale for a couple months. We got a new set coming out, though, and now they've made Duel Link cards, which is basically like the equivalent of gold cards and Magic the Gathering, like they're multiple colors. So that's going to be kind of a cool thing that's coming out in the next set. But I'm taking a break from the card stuff for a bit. Like, there's nothing happening in a month, and I'm just not going to worry about it. So I'm chilling off cards. I was going to sell my Pokemon stuff, but I still plan to, but I didn't get to meet with the guy, and then I am currently afflicted with the flu. So that's
the guy didn't want cards and the flu, so
yeah, so it only makes sense. But I'm supposed to meet with him, but I honestly don't know. My daughter's now making me feel bad about selling the cards. I was organizing what I was trying to sell.
I thought you were keeping all the evolutions and stuff.
Well, I planned on that, and she was like, "Oh, Daddy, what about these cards and these cards?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna sell them," and she's like, "But Daddy, you told me," and she reminded me of when she was 4 that we sat down and we looked through all those cards together, and I told her one day when she was a big girl she could have all those cards. Yeah, and now I don't know if I'm gonna sell them because the money doesn't matter. I made a promise to my daughter. I can't break that, so I haven't told my wife yet that. But yeah, she made me feel really guilty about it. And I was like, this kid. But
just tell her if you want to go to college, you have to sell these.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Yeah, if she wants to sell them when she gets older, that's up to her anyway. But I did promise her that one day they would just be hers, so I just need to let it go. But here's the thing I can do, and this is what I've realized, is that not collecting doesn't mean that I have to sell everything. It also doesn't mean that I have to keep collecting. I can just stop. Like, I
There
can
you
just stop at what I have and move on, take a break. And if I come back to it later or want to collect, cool. If not, no big deal. And I think that's what I got to remind myself of. So,
All right, how many weeks until he buys a bunch of Pokemon cards?
3.
there's not even a
Just
week.
three? Dubs, what do you think?
Hey, fuck you guys! I'm not gonna buy any to collect.
I was about to defend you. I was about to be like, I believe him.
Oh no! Listen, I've already got a pre-order on booster boxes for the next set.
Oh,
But
fuck.
Booster box is plural. Wow.
but here's the thing. That's for cards so I can play. That has something to do with me collecting.
Just buy
fairness.
what you need. Just buy singles.
Well, you end up getting so many commons and other things. Like, I don't mind getting a couple boxes and then trading or whatever, and then I can buy my singles. But you're right. I mean, that game in particular is probably better just to do that anyway. I don't know. I'm a monster. I'll figure it out. Okay, so let's get to gaming because I got to do a lot of stuff since I had the flu. I'm so excited for it, right? So I played and have completed like 100%, got everything in the game for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. In the remake, they did a cool thing because they added an extra boss, they added some extra content. It's not a ton, but there's a little bit of extra stuff. But you actually get a unique badge that turns Mario all gold whenever you finish everything. So that's kind of cool. So I got the gold badge, and that was effectively the confirmation that I completed the game. So the game is a blast. It's so fun. There's just so many dumb but witty things about the game. Like, something I love about the game is each area you go to, every village or town, they have a village elder or leader, and every single one of them can't get Mario's fucking name right. They all call him something different.
Red Luigi.
Like, so they're like, one calls him Murphy, the one calls him Martio. Like, none of them get his name right. You go to the one, and it's like a wrestling business in a fortress or a city in the sky, and it's like a fight arena, and they decide, oh, Mario's a dumb name. That's not a good stage name. Let's call you the Great Gonzalez. Just, I don't know. I fucking love it. But my favorite one is near the very end of the game, like the second to the last place you go. There's a detective who is completely clueless, like he's a terrible detective, and he deduces that you must be Luigi. So he just calls you Luigi. Like, all the other ones are like, at least it's like, oh, it's a name that starts with an M or something else. But they just straight up call you Luigi. It even turns like green in the text. I don't know. That game is great. But I thoroughly enjoyed playing through it. And it's got some challenge to it, but it's a lot of fun. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I then promptly downloaded Power Rangers Rita's Rewind and then beat it. That game is something. I'll say that. It's short. I would love to play it with other people. I think it'd be a lot of fun to play online together. I will say it's a little clunky.
Got a little clunk.
It's got a little clunk, but it's not bad.
Talking about the Megazord segments?
The Megazord segments are not my favorite. I'll just say that.
We need to fix that or something. We need to try to do something about that.
It almost feels like they had the game almost ready to be put out, and then someone was like, "Hey, did Paul finish up the segments of the Megazord?" It was like, "No, we have 48 hours to get this ready before it has to be mass released." Oh God! And they like cranked out what they had to in 48 hours to get it built because it looks like a fucking slop job. But
they didn't
aside
do QA testing,
yeah, it's something's wrong with it. But you can see where the budget cuts were. But the music is fucking awesome, though.
Oh yeah.
The music fucking rips in the game. It's so good. I've enjoyed it. There's also some cool like arcade games that are within the game that you can unlock and play, like these little mini games. They're kind of fun. Unfortunately, the only other thing too is that they don't do anything terribly unique with the characters. Like all the characters effectively have all the same moves, more or less.
Sounds like every other Power Rangers game I've played.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Like they're like again, like you can hit their like power up button or their special, and their special like does like an AOE, and like they have a different element or this or that. But as far as what they do the same thing. Like it's eh, I don't know, for this many years, like uh distanced from 90s beat 'em ups. I like myself a good 90s beat 'em up, but also they can be more. You don't have to just remake the exact same thing. You can do more stuff now. So I feel mixed about it.
How does it compare to Shredder's Revenge in that regard? Because Shredder's Revenge was a delight. I loved that game.
Yeah, so I like it, but I definitely like Shredder's Revenge more.
Okay.
Yeah, Shredder's Revenge was awesome.
Streets of Rage 4 too. I think I like it a little bit better.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. Like I'm looking forward to the new Shinobi game that's coming out. Looks like it's
Also,
doing
yes.
exactly what I want for games like this. Like
It's made by the people who made Streets of Rage 4. It's the same studio, so
build on to what existed before, but make new things as well. Like there's no need to just remake what existed before. Let's actually build onto it and do some new stuff. And yeah, Streets of Rage 4 is awesome. Shredder's Revenge is awesome.
In those veins, just a tiny little news snippet, and companies do this all the time, so it's not worth getting too excited about. But Sega simultaneously, that's why it's worth noting, in North America and Japan, renewed the trademark for Skies of Arcadia / Eternal Arcadia. So people think something's about to happen with that, but who knows?
Maybe a re-release.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I also, I don't know why I did this, but for some reason decided, what would be great? Even though I have BioShock, or I'm pretty sure I have the BioShock collection on PlayStation already, but I was like, you know what? For $8, I can have the BioShock collection on my Switch, and I can go and hunt down Big Daddies while I'm pooping. So I went ahead and got it. I don't know why, and I played through like the first hour of BioShock. What's funny though is I don't think I've actually played the original BioShock since.
Oh, it came out
like shortly after. I played it. I know I've beaten the game twice, but like the first two times I played through it, I think were like pretty close together, if that makes sense. Like they were within the first year or so the game came out, and then I haven't touched it since. But it was great. So
there's an element to that game that after you've played it at least once will lose a bit of its luster. But I remember loving that game to death when it came out. I haven't played it since though.
Oh, that's very true. And it's funny that you say that because even like when I first started the game, the very first thing that you see when you play the game, like first off, everybody here's played the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, you've not played BioShock?
No.
Oh man, well, never mind.
It's a good old time. It's a good.
Yeah.
I just haven't played it.
There's a phrase. There's a certain phrase that's on.
Oh, you mean would you kindly? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure he's had it spoiled. It's a very spoiled.
I don't know what the context is for that. But
Oh, okay. Well, then don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but those are the words. Those words.
It's a nice, short, fun first-person shooter. You'd like it a lot.
Oh yeah, you should definitely play it.
You should kindly play it.
Yeah.
I plan on playing
play that game
soonish. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost considered putting it on my list. If I didn't, I don't think I did. I don't think it was on that list that I had, but it was one that I considered putting on there. But nevertheless, all right, let's get to what I watched because there's a lot to watch too. Because when you got flu, you ain't got shit to do, and I would basically play video games until I felt like I couldn't anymore, and then I just laid and held my guts while I watched things. So Invincible has the first half of season 3 up.
Edgy superhero show.
Yeah, it's really we're finally getting into the meat of things. I'm really liking it. Yeah, it's been pretty good so far. Invincible meat. I also started watching It's Sunny in Philadelphia because it's been a while since I'd watched through the series, and also I needed to watch something to like make things a little lighter because I watched a lot of heavy shit like all in a row.
You needed to watch it because the Birds won the Super Bowl and you were excited, right?
Fucking yeah. Someone messaged me. I guess they didn't realize I wasn't a Cowboys fan anymore, but they thought that I had the bird flu because I got the flu the night of the Super Bowl, and they were like, "Oh, you must just be hungover. You have the bird." I was like, first off, fuck the Eagles. Second, no, I didn't even watch the Super Bowl, and third, I have the flu, the flu.
Super Bowls will work.
Vanilla flu.
Yeah, vanilla flu. That's right. Original flu. Okay. So yeah, I watched Whiplash, and then for some reason thought, you know what would be great right now? Just watch some other thrillers, just in different ways. So I watched No Country for Old Men. I don't know why that was. I don't know why that was the follow up, but yeah, that was my follow up. Man, the movie's great. It had been actually. It had actually been a while since I'd watched that movie, but man, that scene always the gas station scene. It always gets to me. It always gets to me how unsettled that poor old man is. He's like, I'm just trying to pass the time, make small talk.
I like when he chokes on the peanuts and he's like, "You were married into it."
so you married into it. Oh man! And he says, "Don't just put it in your pocket. That's the luckiest coin you'll ever own." And it's like, if you just put it in your pocket, it's just some coin, which it is. Yeah, that movie's pretty great though. And then I watched Seven immediately after that.
Nice, easy breezy. Yeah.
You ready for what I didn't expect in the middle of Seven? Because I haven't watched Seven in a long ass time. 20 years maybe. But in Seven, in the middle of the movie, whenever Morgan Freeman is trying to decide if he effectively decides he still wants to know what, like, for curiosity's sake, what happens with this case. So he's helping look up details, and he wants to like listen to something to kind of relax. And you know what's playing in the background? He's listening to Charlie Parker.
Listening to the Bird.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was pretty great. I was like, oh, that's a nice little coincidence. But yeah, and then because I watched those things all back to back, I almost watched Akiru. I didn't. I was just too tired, and I was worried I'd fall asleep, and I felt like it needed my full attention. So I've decided to wait until I'm healthy. I don't want flu to affect how I take that movie in. But I've decided I'm going to watch that movie, and I'm going to watch another movie immediately following it, and I'm probably going to be a complete emotional train wreck after it's over. I'm going to watch Akiru, and then I'm going to watch The Road with Viggo Mortensen.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm really going to just ravage my body emotionally. It's going to be great.
Just use fucking Schindler's List as a palate cleanser. Holy fuck.
If you got energy left over, watch Grave of the Fireflies after that.
Yeah, so that's my plan. But yeah, I watch It's Always Sunny after those to lighten things up, and that works pretty well. So that you need a palate cleanser. That's all I got.
All right.
Dubs, you better have something good.
I don't. I played Tetris on the SNES.
Okay. Pretty cool. Good start.
That's my other autistic fucking kill time fucking game was Links to the Past and fucking Tetris. I'm just like, those two games calm me down.
Here's a question for you. Have you always loved Tetris, or did you come to love Tetris?
I loved Tetris. After I kind of learned about the history behind it a little bit, like after I was seeing that,
it has an interesting history.
Yeah, I seen the Apple movie and I was like, that's too fucking Hollywood. So I read about it, and I was like, he was getting chased by the Russians, but it wasn't like that in the movie.
Sure.
But I also love the evolution of Tetris, because it was just like the simple block thing, and then now it's like they have like fucking music shit going. The one that you like to play on PlayStation.
Tetris Effect.
Yeah, that one.
That game is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that game is fucking cool looking. I can't wait to play that. But yeah, I played that. I played a little more Blood Omen. I'm gonna put a deadline next week because I don't remember last time I said all week I'm gonna play this game to beat it, but then I got the flu like Chaz did, and I was like, I do not want to play anything or watch anything because I'm a baby and I'm a pussy. But anyway, I played more of it. I believe I told you guys I got the mace.
Last time you told us anything about it, you said you got the mace, which is you finished the first boss fight and got the mace.
Yep. So
and you smashing stones.
Yeah, I just did a little bit. I haven't really advanced more than that, but I will be finishing this game next week. I have to because I don't want to be a fucking you guys waiting on me.
What if you don't finish it? What happens then?
He's fired.
Then I'm gay and retarded. But
what?
He Fletchered himself.
I guess
himself.
A double rainbow that shit. I also watched more 1995 wrestling, which me and Zach will be talking about. But I found out. I just want to bring this up. The the Dungeon of Doom, the head guy that yells at Sullivan. Sullivan. I've got the insurance.
The insurance policy has been set.
But the Yeti has appeared, and me and Zach are going to be talking about the Yeti.
They call him the Yeti, and then they call him the Yeti. And I'm so confused. Because Hulk Hogan calls him Yeti first.
It still seems like they should call him the Mummy.
I know. But a mummy came out of a block of ice. So.
Yes. So in WWF, remember the gobbledygooker, he came out of an egg and shit?
Egg?
Yeah, but the Yeti is coming out of a glacier ice thing. And yeah, so learn about that tomorrow when we record it live, getting some color on Big Trouble Media's YouTube.
What time?
10:30 because I worked at
Boo!
Yeah.
I'll still try. I'll try.
We've been actually getting some traction. We've been getting 4 people that are lurking in the background because we put Monday Night Wars in the title.
Oh, you found 4 other losers. That's good.
Yep, I found 4 other losers.
Oh, sorry, I meant to say wrestling fans.
I've been watching the show Severance. It came out with a new season. You guys need to watch that.
I know you keep saying that.
It's
what's it? Isn't it on Apple TV or some dumb shit though?
Yeah, but there's ways to watch it. You know,
I feel like Severance is now on Hulu.
Oh, okay, word. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Severance. Now I don't know if the newest season is on there, but Severance has definitely been popping up on my apps. I just don't remember which one it is, but I'm pretty sure it's either Amazon or Hulu.
Oh, well, I can make that work then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a good show. The second season is weird. Imagine Lost meets The Office meets Twin Peaks.
Nope, you got me back.
Yeah,
I was like, this isn't gonna work, and then you said Twin Peaks is okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I've done. Tetris, more Blood Omen. Oh, I dabbled in a little Sonic Frontier because I copied Andy and I got the PlayStation Portal. He influenced me, and I was like, I can get it.
I still don't understand that because what I said was I got my PlayStation Portal. I'm fucking pissed off at this dumb piece of shit and Sony because the day it got here was the day that the PlayStation Network was down for 14 hours. And if the PlayStation Network is down, the Portal it's a piece of shit. It's worthless. It does nothing. It just gives you a blank screen. And I was like, man, I hope everyone at Sony fucking gets cancer and dies. I'm pissed off.
Wow, there can't be any outages ever?
No, especially not the day that I get a $200 piece of equipment to play games with. It works now. I like it pretty well.
Yeah, I pretty much ignored what Andy said about that stuff, and I was just like, oh, I know it's going to come back online. And then I bought it.
You said, oh, it's only $200. I think I'll buy one. We have discussed its price on the show at least twice. when Chaz bought one and when I was thinking about buying one.
I don't remember fucking.
I know
like,
you don't.
fine details like that. I'm too busy
Numbers,
looking at.
round
He has a medical
numbers.
condition. He needs to see it. Like
Oh man, yeah. So, I usually look at like fucking Lenovo and fucking Rogue Ally shit. So like my brain automatically is like, oh, so PlayStation probably charges 400. So I was like, oh, 200, cool. And I bought it and played Sonic Frontier. It's literally
Breath of the Hedgehog.
Breath of the Hedgehog. It's an open world Sonic game.
It's so good, by the way.
It's so empty. It's so lifeless in the beginning, but like I like the controls. That's the one thing I will say about it.
A friend played it and he liked it too. I've been thinking about getting around to, and I'm trying to everything I play is Sega now. I was trying to branch out a bit, but Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii comes out the 21st. I'm gonna play that immediately. So it's right back to Sega Town.
Sega in town, indeed. But yeah, that's all I've done. Yeah, Zach, what about you?
Watched a couple movies. Watched Insidious Chapter 4, The Final Key. Continuing my broken up, out of order rewatch of that series. This was pretty good. Then I gotta watch the first two again. I haven't seen them since they were new. So kind of curious to see how I'll react to them this time. Watched Return of the King again, the theatrical version.
Hell yeah.
I liked it better that time. Not saying I didn't like it before I did. It's just like I've noticed. Maybe it's either I think I like these theatrical cuts just a touch more.
They're technically better movies.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Just a little bit. It kind of edges it out for me. Yeah, still great. It could also be because I like these now. That helps too, so I react more positively.
Like before, you were being a downer about it. I don't fucking like this nerd shit.
Yeah, I don't like this nerd shit. This specific nerd shit. I watched more Broken Skull sessions with Steve Austin because it would get late at night and it'd be like, I don't want to play a game right now. I just want to eat snacks and watch something and it not be a movie. So I did that. I watched the one where he talked to Godfather. That one was super interesting and funny. Godfather is a character in real life. He did this. They showed this segment one time they did on Raw. That was after he turned to do the Godfather character, which the Godfather is a pimp. He's a pimp, but he's a good guy. Oh, I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Oh no, he knows all about the Ho Train.
Yeah, I know about the host.
He did this. Him and the Undertaker are like best friends in real life. So this sets us up to be really funny. Undertaker was standing out there. Godfather comes out with the Ho Train, and he's like, "Dead man, we don't need to fight." He's like, "You could have any pick, any of the girls here right now. I know you." And he's like, "I know you like hoes." Because Undertaker and him would go to strip clubs in real life like every other night. And like you can see him like he's trying not to break character. He's like looking away and he's like doing this shit with his hair and stuff.
Wasn't Paul Bearer being like, I love hoes?
Yeah, Paul Bearer did this face like he went like he looked at it because he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, and like I can see it now.
The payoff of the segment was he just punched Godfather in the face and fought him in a match because he was probably gonna start laughing. That was great. I watched the Mick Foley one. That one was super interesting because Mick Foley is just a super interesting.
He's an interesting guy. Period.
Just to listen to talk about anything, really.
Santa Claus, wrestling, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It could be going to Christmas. Listen to him talk about Christmas. The Kevin Nash one, watch that one too. That one was kind of interesting, but I also I was wondering if Kevin Nash was kind of drunk during that. God damn it. Like I can tell the difference when he's sober and when he's drunk when he talks. I watched the Bobby Lashley one. That one was pretty interesting too. Now I like Bobby Lashley more.
He's a funny ass dude, Bobby Lashley.
He is kind of a funny guy. He's also like he's pretty easygoing apparently, which is funny because he's like this gigantic beast motherfucker, and he's just like, man, I don't like fighting people. I just want to be happy. It's just like his whole attitude in life. But I played WWF Attitude, and then I decided I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah, hold on. Back to the broken skull thing. I posted on our Facebook thing where he was talking to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins was talking about like because there was a step that he had to get to when he went to NXT where he had to stop doing the indie shit and learn the WWF way.
Yeah,
and like the cameraman cuts to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's shaking his head like this with his mouth open. So someone in the comments is like, he looks like a fucking turtle when someone's putting lettuce through the glass, and I just died.
yeah, I remember you saying that was funny. He's shaking his head though because he's like, yeah, because a lot of people just can't get out of the indie mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I tried to play WWF Attitude again after the save fuck up thing that happened when I tried to play Warzone. Huh?
Which game is that?
Attitude is the sequel to Warzone, which is like that's the 3D ones that was like on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. For a second I thought you were talking about that Game Boy one.
No, see it. Or maybe I Acclaim, right?
Yeah, this is when Acclaim still had the WWF license back then, and they're not like good games necessarily at all. The way you do all the moves is like you do like it's almost like Mortal Kombat kind of inputs. And since in wrestling, there's like a bunch of moves. Every guy has like fucking 20 moves or some shit.
Yeah, it's fucking complicated.
So you got to like suplex. There's like 3 moves everybody can do that's universal. It's like right, square, X, and circle will do 3 different moves everybody will have no matter what. But then it's like you want to do a pile driver, you have to tie up, hit right, down, left, circle for that guy. Only for that guy. And then, like any other character, it'd be some other move that's like that in a different position. So it's like kind of like obnoxious a little bit. You having to memorize stuff like that. It's not like a fighting game, really. It's worse. And I was going to play the season mode because I never beat it. I was like, I'm going to try to beat this game because I've never done it. And then, like, I saw how much grinding it was just to beat that game. It's like you literally start out on the bottom, and it's like you do a bunch of house shows. There's like 3 house shows a week in a month. So you have to play like 12 matches in a month, get to the next month before you can even challenge for like the first title. So I have to play like 24 fucking matches before I can challenge for the first title out of 3. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I gave up. I bounced off of it. It's not even that good. See, if it was a better wrestling game, I'd probably do it. If it was like one of those N64 ones or it was like SmackDown or some shit, I'd probably do it. I'm still playing Zelda, the first Zelda. I have my 7th piece of Triforce, so I'm like close to done. Or I think I'm on getting my 7th now. It was.
Have you done the swastika dungeon yet?
No.
One of the dungeons is infamously shaped like a swastika, just like coincidentally. They made a map that looks like a swastika.
That must be the 7th or 8th one. Because I haven't done that yet. I had a little trouble finding the 6th one. It involved me having to go through like one of those weird areas where like the screen repeats and shit, and I had to like try to remember where that was at. Forest. Yeah, the Lost Forest.
If you play more Zelda, get ready for that more.
Yeah.
That's not the last time that happens.
I was like, where the hell is that place? I haven't been there in like a really long time. So I had to like kind of retrace my steps and check the guide a little bit. I'm like, okay, here it is. And I found it. I found some other stuff too. Like I got the recorder thing, the flute. They call it a recorder. Some other items. Then I figured out on my own, because the guide didn't say anything about it, that you could just use the recorder wherever, and it summons a tornado to take you somewhere else. And it seems random. Like I'm sure there's some kind of like fucking formula to it, but it seems like it just takes you a few screens over, in the opposite direction, and you're there. I'm like, well, this makes traveling a little more convenient if you get lucky. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna beat it, I guess, soonish, and I'm still liking it. It's just there's one thing about it I don't like, and if it's got something to do with the way Link moves and like hit detection and stuff, and it feels like fucking off to me, and I can't ever get used to it. It's like I keep running into enemies when I don't mean to.
You gotta like reprogram your brain for that one.
I'm gonna have to, yeah. It's like I keep doing it. I'm like, fuck. Like I'm getting better at it, but it's like kind of awkward, like the start and stop of his move and stuff.
There was that conversation about like you said you were enjoying that game and what to play next. I still think you should go straight to Breath of the Wild. I really do. Like Link to the Past rules, Link's Awakening rules, Ocarina of Time rules, but like tonally, I really wish I could put myself in your shoes and go straight from that one to Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild is the most faithful to the structure of that game. I just think it'd be an interesting experiment.
Maybe I'll consider it. I gotta go buy it first.
Yeah, of course.
While I have access to Zelda 2 and Link to the Past and whatever the fucking Game Boy one is, I guess.
Link's Awakening.
Isn't there like a couple of those? There's like that one, and there's like the red and blue ones of that.
There's a regular Link's Awakening, and then there's Link's Awakening DX, which adds an extra dungeon for the Game Boy Color, and then there's Link's Awakening DX Four Swords, which is Link's Awakening DX with the extra dungeon with extra stuff for 4-player co-op if you have the Link cable, and or Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube. It's confusing. And the red and blue, that is Capcom made those games. It's Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. They're also both pretty fun.
They're amazing.
I've always heard they were good.
It's neat. They you can play them in either order, and the order you play them in affects the other one, because when you beat one, it gives you like a code, and when you put it in on the next game, it knows that you just beat Oracle of Seasons. So when you go into Oracle of Ages, it affects stuff in that game. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. And you have to beat both of them in order to actually complete the game.
To get the real, true ending. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's working this time, though. I think I'm actually getting into it.
Well,
I
you like Zelda
before, like multiple times.
Just prepare yourself, because whether you want to or not, we're going to play Ocarina. So,
hey, it's not Final Fantasy 12.
That is a true fact, I guess.
Yep, those are words you said, sir.
It could be me. It could be my pick. Final Fantasy 12.
I quit.
Okay. Zach, anything else that you played, watch, or do?
No, that's it. I didn't do a whole lot because I was busy over the weekend, and then Monday we recorded, so I didn't get to do a whole lot after I came back here. So I've been my time of doing stuff has been really compact in like the last couple of days.
Well, you're gonna enjoy Halloween Havoc to talk about, at least.
At least we get to see the Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeti!
Of course, you get to see that.
Is this the Halloween Havoc that has the kick-ass Rey Mysterio?
You mean Jerry Lynn?
Eddie Guerrero match?
That's either 2 years from now or next year.
Oh, never mind. Well,
I think I'm pretty sure it's 97, but I could be wrong.
Okay. It could be after. I couldn't remember if it's the same one or not.
No,
that's when he's going to officially return to the show. Is when that pay-per-view happens.
Yeah. This is the Halloween Havoc where Monster Truck wrestle.
The Monster Truck duel.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
And Big Show gets killed and then comes back for the main event.
And then Yeti shows up.
Yeah.
It is like horrifically bad, but so good.
In context, it's even funnier now that we've seen all these Hogan promos. He's talking about how he's on the dark side, man, and all this shit, brother, and how he's evil now and he's going to disintegrate the Giant. And then when the Monster Truck duel happens and he pushes him off of the top of the building, and he's, "Oh my God, get help! You wanted to kill him the whole time, and now you changed your mind after you did it." Like,
yeah. But watch Getting Some Color tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Andy, close us out.
If you enjoyed this, and why wouldn't you? Because we're pretty great at this by now. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow some of us on X, I guess, if you want. That's cool. Tell us why we're wrong. Look, I know I got a bunch of half-baked Idiot opinions. I want to hear about it. I want you to tell me how much it sucked. Follow me on Letterboxd for that matter. Same principle over there. Next week, we're watching Drumline, and I just know that's going to be a delight. So stay tuned for that.